Hi, and welcome back to episode 2. In the previous episode, we discussed working with Docker and creating a self-signed certificate. A member of the community, Pierre Bering, helped me get introduced to a product called Traffic, which is a load balancer that can be used with your Docker containers. So let me walk you through briefly how that was set up. There is a repository available out on GitHub for you to review. This is what he shared with me. And so it basically has everything you need to get going. The changes that I made include this line here where rather than just TLS, I provide a path to certificates. And a little bit further down, I created a new volume that maps a certs folder on my machine to the certs folder within this container. And moving a little bit further down, I think much of this was already there. Yeah, so that's probably all that really mattered. One major change that I made with the URL structure, I wasted hours with a wildcard certificate and come to realize that when you've got 3 parts to this URL, star.dev.local will work, but in the example that Pierre provided, it actually had 4 parts, and so I wasted a bunch of time trying to figure out why the certificates weren't valid. Same as the previous video, there is a script that you could run which will generate a new self-signed certificate and add it to your host machine. One modification I've made since the last episode was related to how the certificates are generated on the file system. So let me jump to a folder here real quick. Under certs, you see that there's a CER and a key file. Both of these are required by Traffic. So the PFX private key file, that's not supported by Traffic on its own. And so essentially what I'm doing is generating the self-signed certificate, importing the PFX into the proper stores and marking it as exportable, and then taking the certificate that has been imported and exporting it to these 2 different file formats. There's a lot that went into actually making this work with a pure PowerShell approach. So I won't bore you with the details, but all of the code samples are going to be in the original repository that I shared. Ultimately, what it does is rather than using the OpenSSL executable to generate the cert and key file, I'm actually using .NET to transform this into the proper format, into a base64 formatted file. So once we've done that, you'll have this output. And so I ran it from the other repository, copied the files over into this directory, into the cloned repository shared by Pierre Bering. And then you simply run the docker compose up build command. I would just comment on one thing. As part of this this setup, I believe there's an issue with the isolation type, which is why we're doing the builds. But I'm sure there's some other ways. If we didn't have to do new build, I'm not sure how you would specify the certificate files. There's probably some TOML file that you can provide, but as soon as that, all right, frees up. So we get the startup that we expect, that we've seen before, and then once that's complete, you end up with a website that resolves using the URL provided. And just say it one more time, the URL that is in the example repository, I have changed that URL so that the structure of it matches the certificate I was using with my other demo. So I took the CM that was at the beginning and I moved it to after Sitecore-HTTPS, so it's Sitecore-HTTPS-CM, and now we have a recognized certificate, and you can go into the dev tools and view there as well. So that's pretty much it. I do encourage you to research more about using traffic with your containers, and perhaps you've got some ideas about how I can take advantage of that. Take care. Have a great week. Bye.